Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a follow-up review of the new Segway GT3 Pro. Basically what I've found, as I've owned it so far and, what I like and how it operates and so on and so forth. So my previous scooter was a Toyota minivan. So this, was a big lifestyle change for me. Um, there's been some adaptation working from home and everything I do is local. It's really hard to justify, the continued expense of, owning and maintaining a vehicle. But until this GT3 Pro hit the market, I never was able to find a solution I was totally comfortable with, you know, performance and reliability and so forth. So this scooter has exceeded all expectations. The speed is great. The battery seems great. Super stable. Hills, it's like they're not even slopes. I've taken it off road a little bit, run around in some wet grass. There's a golf course in my neighborhood and kind of tore that up a little bit. But yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. First thing to know about this scooter, number one, it's giant. I had never seen one in real life. I didn't know quite what to expect, and it's big. It's big. It's heavy. It's surprisingly maneuverable when you're on it, but to kind of tug it around on the ground and such, that's not always quite so easy. So I think you could walk it up. I think you could drive it upstairs if you had to. Walking alongside it, but yeah, really large, really heavy, really fast, really solid. There were some concerns I saw online. A lot of people didn't like the throttle. I don't really have any frame of reference. I was on a motorcycle once decades ago. Um, but I've pretty well gotten the hang of the throttle, I think. You basically kind of shift your hand over to where you're holding it's a half turn, uh, like motorcycle style. So I have found that I'm able to operate it, without any problem. So I think unless you've got a lot of experience on something else, there's no reason you can't, adapt to it. Um, yeah, when I first got it, the brakes, they were making a little ping ping noise. I guess things were still getting seated. I freaked out about that, and yeah, that was fine. Yeah, so let's take a look. Out of the box, there's some settings and there's an app, but when you just, walk up to it, normally it's asleep. And so here we see it boots up to password protect mode. I think you can have an automatic unlocking if you're an iPhone user, but I'm not, so that isn't really convenient for me. From this point, you're given a choice. You can have between 4 and 8 characters, and your inputs are these two buttons here and the two handlebars. So, it's not. And so then it just shuts back down. As an anti-theft feature, it's got some sort of vibration sensitivity. It's not going to do it on demand, but it seems like the controller wakes up and you're able to lock the motor so somebody can't, walk away with it. But yeah, we go ahead, we log in, and we're, got to the dashboard. We switch modes by turning this little thing over here to the right. To me, that is very difficult to do while driving. It's hard to get a good grip on it, and certainly, if I was trying to get to, a higher speed mode so that I could, pass a car or do something on the road, I think you want to have all those adjustments done, beforehand. There's also a boost functionality. I have not yet experimented with that. And then you've also got this walk mode where if you hold the button, it toggles in and out. So one thing I don't like about the walk mode is that it, for some reason, feels like it needs to turn the headlight on. And there doesn't seem to be a clear reason for that. So we can see we're in two-wheel drive, and the ABS functionality is set. That's provided by the regenerative braking stuff. That's something that's configured in the app, and we'll look at that in just a second. But yeah, holding this button lets us toggle between one and two-wheel drive mode. This control on this side is also where we do the headlights. Again, I found this control to be difficult to operate while driving around at night. Switching between low and high beam was not, I don't know, I felt like it should have been easier because I was busy, trying to be safe at night. We've also got turn signals. And when the brakes are on, the rear brake light, either lights up or flashes. So there really wasn't anything, I guess what I'd point out, these for some reason, I guess the things that are supposed to cover the little hydraulic brake tubey things, they're not tight. I don't know, it seems like somebody forgot some sealant or something. It's not like really an issue. But yeah, so let's take a look at that app. So here, all right, so yeah, Segway Mobility. Here we go. I think if you're, maybe if you're an iPhone user, you might be interested in this dashboard. It might be, if you've got a phone mount on there, it might be a way to see some nice statistics. Haven't really figured out that lock it. See, that didn't. I thought maybe it was involved in locking the screen here, but really seemed to. Now I'm trying to slide to exit, and it's like that's not even a button. So yeah, there's not. They've made the interface more complex than it needs to be. Really, the only thing we've got are these settings here. So we'll just go through and look at those real quick. I think you need some kind of security. This locking function, we already kind of looked at that. The problem I have with it is it's kind of slow. So in order to get into the scooter, I first have to hold the power button until it comes up. Now, if I make a mistake, or if I enter one, I don't know, it takes a little bit to log in, for it to boot up, log in, and just, drive away. So that's, a minor complaint there. But yeah, this shows we can use up to 8 characters, if you will, that include the brakes. Well, I guess there's a digital up, down, enter a number code as well. Maybe I'll try that. Let's say this airlock, that works with somehow between your iOS device and the app. So you just kind of walk up to it and go. I've read that it's not 100%, so people still have to kind of, wake your phone up a little bit to get there. Abnormality alert is the anti-theft. That's where we start trying to move it, and I'll demonstrate maybe that here in a minute. A couple different settings, sensitivity. So we'll have more movement alert after folding. So now this is a stupid scenario. The scooter folds, and I guess that makes it easier to put in, cars and so forth. And so we just, you got to use the lever and it breaks down. But when it's folded, the the stem doesn't latch. And so then we get a couple, and there's also no lock on it. Nor do I see a way that you could lock it. So, issue number one, if you're using and relying on the alarm to keep the scooter safe, if we turn this function on, as soon as you fold the stem, the alarm is disabled. So that seems like a questionable choice. And then there's another setting in here further down about turning the device off when folding it. But the function of that is the function of that is to arm the alarm. So, yeah, like I say, you can participate in the Apple Find My program. Auto power off, how quickly it'll go into sleep mode. I guess really the bigger use of that is that the security would start, looking for vibration and stuff. Traction control, that's, I've read, some of the things I read online suggested that people thought traction control was cutting power to the motors when going over bumps, suggested disabling it. I have not found that to be the case. Maybe that was older scooters. Maybe this one is better because it's two-wheel drive. But I have had no issues with that. I have not experimented with park on a slope. Quick features seems to be something about that dashboard display that iOS users get. Speed mode, I am not qualified to drive in race mode, so I have that disabled. Maybe when I get a better helmet and jacket, and do my firmware updates, I'll think about that. So that's that. And then in each mode, you can kind of set, specific to what you want the max speed to be. To me, the issue is not the max speed. I can not turn the throttle as far, all by myself. It's really the acceleration. The jump difference from eco to sport is pretty massive, and I'm just not comfortable with any more jolt getting in, going into race mode right now. So, yeah, energy recovery. This is that KERS system where it's regenerative braking. I have not had any issue with it. I've seen people. Oh, that's a interesting broken screen artifact. And I'm stuck. Let's try that again. So when you connect over Bluetooth, the scooter does beep. Well, that was interesting. Yeah, so I've kept traction control on. I don't need, the speed. The start speed is how quickly it'll take off. Whether it has to be moving. Well, that's a stupid, it's done it to me again. All right, well, I guess I won't be clicking into those buttons. So yeah, energy recovery, that's the KERS system. People have said, well, they, turn that off. Maybe if you have an underpowered scooter and you want to be able to pick up more speed going downhill, I have not had any reason to, look for more speed, and it also is going to reduce the wear on the mechanical brakes as well. I did turn this brake priority on. I don't know. Again, I've had no problems with the throttle or control. Sound effects. Either it will beep when the turn signal is on, or it won't. I wish the turn signal would time out because I have kind of gone down the road leaving my blinker on for a while. It's a little bit awkward of a button press. And Yeah, flash when braking, auto headlight. That's all fine. So one of the things Segway, you know, says, and information seems to, the internet seems to corroborate, is that more more usage is put on on the cells in the battery the farther you charge it. So, I don't know, maybe charging to a lower percentage will give you a longer life. I don't need 86 miles of range in general when I leave the house. So by, charging it, less than that, you know, it's going to take less than the full 8 hours there. And yeah, here's that power off after folding. Um, my experience with that is that as soon as I fold it, like I'm going to pretend I'm going to put it in a car, but now all of a sudden the abnormal motion alert is active and the horn starts going off. So they need to kind of rethink what it is they're trying to accomplish there. For reasons that are not clear, the ABS is hidden under this lab tab. That's apparently been a problem for Android people because some versions of the Segway app for Android, for some reason, don't expose the 9-bot laboratory, don't expose this setting. So it was off out of the box. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want all the magic features, but yeah, and some, you can make it whether it will, how the odometer displays. And then sleep mode, I guess that's what it is when it's in the box. You have to reconnect the charger to power it back up. So let's just take a look. Here we are back in the device info tab. It's got the serial number at the top, and I'll talk about why I think that's an issue here in a minute. This is the firmware that I've got on my unit. I kind of pulled a little bit of a trick when I activated out of the box to avoid doing any firmware updates, and I may have gotten myself in a bit of a problem with that. But I don't know. The Bluetooth version looks so low, 0.2. All of the online help, for whatever reason, seems to come from Baidu network CDN servers. I mean, I guess that's to be expected. I'll say check for update. We'll say it is up to date. But when it disconnects from Bluetooth, it comes back and yeah, I get a different response. But there's a lot of battery information like one would expect. I thought it was interesting that they kept charge deep. I read it somewhere else, but anytime that it is the battery goes, super low charge level, they kind of log that. So I don't know if that comes back to warranty issues or what there. But yeah, that's pretty much the app there. So just to show you what happens when we do the alarm. And so I can feel the back wheel starts to resist, like it won't go very far before it starts to, pick a fight with that. Did I disable the alarm? Maybe that's what that button in the app does. Enable guard mode. Oh, and I lost my camera. Yeah, so the app makes it easy to turn the alarm on and off. It's not going to do it just to spite me. It's really kind of difficult to get it up here on the porch. Let's see. No, it doesn't have an alarm anymore. That function doesn't work. But back when it did have an alarm, it would honk, and it seemed like it was, going to be pretty effective. Oh, and the camera fell out again. So perhaps that's something that could be gained from, doing the firmware updates. There we go. Now it's locking. Still not going off though. Well, I guess that's that. Let's see. All right, the scooter made a beepy noise because it disconnected. And it's complaining about something else. Yeah, this is what I was going to show. Okay, so now I'm in the, for whatever reason, oh good. Yeah, so now it's showing me that there's an update. So I disconnected the Bluetooth, and this happens, it normally happens to me when I just go drive around and I come back and I see this screen. And it tells me that there's some updates. And the battery one especially is interesting to me because the version is so much higher. I mean, the Bluetooth is quite a bit higher as well, but I can't get these things, they don't want to install because as soon as it connects to the Bluetooth, now all of a sudden the scooter says that it's up to date. So I think I may have caused that problem. I was bound and determined that no matter what, I was not going to install firmware updates until I, knew what I was doing and kind of could get in there and, I really wanted to log them. That's what I wanted to do. So I could see the traffic over the internal control bus and, what sort of security and stuff. And so in order to, I had read about a trick online where if you're in a situation where you can change serial numbers on a scooter, like an ST link or something like that, if you activate a scooter with a serial number and of, so essentially what I did, I activated the app using the scooter's real serial number, but using the emulator that I had running on the ESP32. So it was advertised as if it was a Max, an older model Max, like G2, G3 or something that didn't use encryption. And then I uninstalled the app, reinstalled the app, and then let it see the real scooter, and it made me redo the Bluetooth pairing operation. But after that, it didn't want to update or anything like that. And so, I may have just created a problem for myself. But I'll know more about that shortly. I spent literally all of my money on this scooter, so I'm trying to now I'm really down to frugal. The connectors that are inside, inside the base and the connector going up to the stem, those are apparently Jullets. I was searching for Juliet's for a while, but no, it's Julet. And they all seem like they're just normal, what those connectors are. For me, with the exception of the 4-pin connector that is used to power the DC to DC converter, that's that little silver box that's sitting on top of the motor controller. And yeah, it's got what appears to be a much higher gauge, or thicker. I don't know if that's higher or lower, but a much thicker DC connector in there. And I mean, that makes sense. But every other one of these seems to be like just an off-the-shelf connector. So I've gotten a pair of these 6-pin connectors now that I'm going to be using to tap into the control bus in the going up to the head unit. Originally, I thought I was going to be able to use a standard like pin header, like these 0.1 pitch, like jumper headers essentially, because it looked like that was going to connect to the things in the dashboard itself, but those are actually like a laptop IDE pitch. So I do have some of those cables and connectors, but it was getting a little Frankenstein-y, so I just went ahead and bought the connector. So I'm hoping to get in there and see, what traffic is passing around on that serial bus, and is it is it full duplex? Is it encrypted? What is all that? There we go. There comes back the frame rate. So that should be here shortly. So we'll know a little bit more about that. And then gonna see what I can do about getting some updates installed. I had a point to all that. Yeah, so ultimately looking to stick some form of embedded chip in there. The first thing I want to change is the walk mode. I don't like the light coming on in walk mode. So, and then maybe also the behavior when you close the stem. So that's at least a design goal, something to work towards. So we'll know more about that when the magic cable arrives and I get in there. And then on a purely fun note, I've got to get some kind of dash cam footage, because I don't know, I've had all kinds of, I'm like Mr. Trespass with this thing just going everywhere. So thinking maybe I put a Raspberry Pi. I've got a couple of Raspberry Pi Zeros and cameras, and that might be pretty easy just to hang on the on the on the stalk somehow. I've got this Sense hat as well, which I for some reason think may have a accelerometer. If not, I will just strap a Wiimote sensor on there and see how many G's I'm pulling. So there'll be more about that. And this whole open source mod chip plan of mine. All of that stuff is getting documented up at GitHub. And I just figure, I can't do it all alone, but, I got enough guts to get in there and, fool around with some stuff. So, maybe if we all stay busy on that, we'll get some nice, approachable mods for the community. So with all that, I think that's about my plan here. Won't know more until I get my cables. Think about pulling that chip off the board. If you're going to take it apart, be super careful of the LCD ribbon cable. I've had that try and jump out of the controller at me, and just commit suicide on the floor a couple times. And yeah, be safe, wear a helmet. Yeah, I will. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.